Hello, I'm Danny Beck. Kathy and I have owned Danny Beck Chevrolet for 8 years. We're very proud of our business and of our dealership and our employees. Now, I grew up on a dairy farm in Broken Arrow. I developed a love for Chevrolets as a very small child and always wanted to go to the Chevrolet dealership and look at the cars when I was little. And my two older brothers, that's quite a bit older than me, had a 55 Chevy and a 57 Chevy convertible. And they used to give me a nickel or a dime to wash it and wipe them down for them. And I just developed a love for Chevrolets. Plus, Chevrolet always had the coolest ads on TV, and they sponsored my favorite shows, Bonanza, Bewitched. Well, when the economy really toughened in the early 80s, when the oil patch dried up, and I worked for an oil company that manufactured oil field equipment, and the company actually filed bankruptcy, and I was not able to find a job in my profession because every other company was either closing down or reducing their workforce. And I went and visited the salesman that my folks had traded with since I was a young man, Bill Houston, who's the greatest Chevrolet salesman that ever lived. I worked at Ramsey Sheeran in Bixby, Oklahoma, and we were dear friends, and he actually talked me into getting in the car business. I have to do commercials that don't run as often because I can't afford to have them on TV every time you turn on the TV. So I decided at the very onset that I had to do commercials that were different, that people would talk about, they would laugh about. They might think they were silly, but most importantly, they would always be thinking of Danny and these commercials.
Where's Danny?
Well, the Christmas show was a dream of mine. I'd always hoped that someday I would be able to do a Christmas show because when I was a little boy growing up, we were blessed with so many great Christmas shows, and I told Kathy that I hope that we can afford to do a Christmas show of local talent and give something back to the community that's been so good to us. And our Christmas show just continues to grow every year. Santa, when it's not Christmas Eve and you're in the sleigh with the reindeer, what do you drive normally?
Well, Danny, of course, it's a Chevrolet sleigh.
And we're so proud of the talent that we find every year and the quality of this show, and the people are so receptive to it. We've had so many calls, feedback over the years from this show, and this is our 5th annual one this year. And then we had a lady that was in the hospital, said they unhooked her life support machine and told her she wasn't going to make it. And she was watching the Christmas show and drifting in and out of a coma, and she heard the show come on. In one segment of the show, I said that just remember, God is still on the throne, and whatever your problem is tonight, just ask Him. He will hear your prayer and He will answer it. And she said that she was laying there and she thought, why am I laying here dying? I'm a Christian, I know God can heal me. And she started praying and she went to sleep praying. She woke up the next morning, jumped up out of bed, walked over, looked out at the snowfall that we'd had a couple of years ago at Christmas, called her husband and said, you need to come and get me. I'm been healed and I'm ready to come home for Christmas. She came and told me that story and said if I hadn't have said those words, she would probably have just laid there and died that night. But I renewed her spirit and faith in God. And her husband came and bought a Malibu from us last summer, and she looked like she'd never been sick a day in her life. So when I hear stories like that, it lets me know that this Christmas show has a deeper meaning. So if you ask the secret to my success, I guess I just believe in what the Bible says. Love one another as Jesus loved the church. And that's kind of our motto. We do love each other. Our employees love each other. We love our customers. And we just have a great time providing a great product to a great community.